but ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun.
All right now.
Of a new day begun. Let us march on till victory is won. All right, thank you all. All right, so to kick off with the speeches that we have, we are going to listen to co-founder of Soul and Unity Coalition, Miss Emerald Avril. Let's give her a round of applause.
Thank you, Mr. Extra. Usually, because I'm a writer by nature, I usually write a speech, all the dramatic flair, the I say to you today, all that good stuff. But I did not do that because I just wanted to speak from my heart. I've also been extremely busy, so I just want to say, let me step away from the speaker as much as possible. I just want to commend you guys for being here today, for continuing to work towards the upliftment of the Black community, as well as the brown community, and being committed to the fight for social justice. Last year when George Floyd was murdered, I avoided the video personally, and I still haven't seen it in its entirety, because it is my belief, and it's scientifically proven, that trauma resides in Black DNA. It's been passed down from slavery until now. The various things we've been through after slavery has also contributed to that trauma. So I make it my mission not to really watch too much videos like that. But I just sat for a while, and I think I might have said it to Matt maybe, and I was just like, what's so different about this video? Like, we've seen Eric Gardner get suffocated, choked to death, for selling cigarettes, loose cigarettes. We've seen what was his name? Rodney from 1990.
Rodney King.
Yeah, we saw him get beat on camera. What made this different? I'm not sure. I think it was a mix of the pandemic and people being inside, restless. Nobody wants to listen to the government, no matter what you believe in. Nobody wanted to be locked down. And it was a way for a lot of people to rebel. But now, a year later, it's very encouraging to see so many people, because we've had, Breonna Taylor, we've had celebrations, protests in between then and now, and this might be our biggest turnout, I think. So that speaks volumes to the fact that it wasn't just the pandemic, it's the fact that it's a change of heart occurring in this country, right? So I just want you guys to continue to fight for what's right. Uplift your children. If they're in a setting that they're being done wrong, stand up for them. Stand up for yourself. Stand up for other people. People of color, please reach out to your fellow Black people. It's no reason why we should be outnumbered at our own protests. This whole field should be filled with us.
Amen.
Because at the end of the day, all we have is us and our allies. So I want to thank everybody for coming, and just keep fighting a good fight. Just keep fighting the power. Thank you.
Man.
Thank you, Emerald Avril. Let's give her another round of applause. And like she said, we appreciate all of our brothers and sisters of all colors for coming, because we couldn't have done it without you. You think back to studying Harriet Tubman times. Well, Harriet Tubman would not have made it to the Freedom Land if she didn't spend the night at white people's houses. Right. So we have had allies from the beginning, and we just want to thank you for your support with coming for us today.
Amen.
Yes, let's clap it up. All right, next for this portion, we are going to have our Soul Ill Unity Youth. This is our high school branch of students that have come before us, have been using their voice every March. These students are powerful. We have juniors and seniors, well now graduates, excuse me, that are getting ready to come before you today. The first speaker is junior from Carbondale Community High School, Truth Marsh. Let's give her a round of applause.
Hey guys. Okay. A year later, and for the first time, I can finally say something was rightfully done. For the first time, I could finally let my jaws unclench, my shoulders relax and sigh. Only for a moment did that last before I remembered Brianna, Tamir, Marcus, and all the rest. Only for a moment did I become complacent with the results that we shouldn't have even fought for. As grateful as I am, that was only the start. That was only a temporary breath I could take. Only a temporary breath my people could take, because complacency and our own oppression has never been something my people have settled for. I will continue to speak and continue to march, because those results were not enough. Because I still call my mom and tell her I love her when I get pulled over. Because I have to sit with my brother and explain to him why his white classmates make fun of his skin. Because I still toss and turn laying in my bed thinking about how Breonna Taylor couldn't do the same without being killed. Because Black lives matter every day. Not every single day until one gets justice. Not only in the month of February or Juneteenth. Because the human rights of Black people is not a trend. This was not justice. It was simply accountability. Chauvin is where we started. The whole system is next. And to George Floyd, your daughter was right. You did change the world.
All right.
Let's give Truth another round of applause. Wasn't that great, y'all? A junior.
Excellent.
First of all, it takes a lot of courage to come up here today, and she did that. So I'm just so proud of you.
Run everybody.
All right, so our next Soul Ill Unity Youth that we have coming before us today is Mr. Caleb Bonzi, another junior at Carbondale Community High School. Let's give him a round of applause.
Thank you all for coming today as we honor the memory and carry the legacy of George Floyd. It has been 1 year since George Floyd had his life brutally squeezed out of his lungs and heart. Pinned down on that pavement in Minneapolis, the words, "I can't breathe," struggled and fought their way past Derek Chauvin's knee. And those words have become a rallying cry for the movement that continues to struggle and fight for justice to this day. The protests that followed in communities across the nation and the globe played a vital part in shining the light on police brutality that too often remains in the dark. On April 20th, Chauvin was unanimously found guilty of second and third degree murder and second degree manslaughter. Upon hearing this verdict, I, as I'm sure many others did, let out a sigh of relief. Relief that some amount of accountability was achieved. And while this ruling is progress, it is not the end. Derek Chauvin is scheduled to be sentenced on June 25th. And from this day to the 25th and beyond, we must continue our efforts and raise our voices in response to injustice, so that one day we will no longer need to hold our breaths in anticipation of the truth. The events of the past year have highlighted a fact that has been ignored for far too long, that there needs to be a change in the structure of our law enforcement. In preparation for this speech, I spoke with a former member of the Jackson County Sheriff's Department. He shared my sentiment about the killing of George Floyd and echoed that something needs to change. Part of that change needs to come in the form of increased and varied training for law enforcement. Too many times we see those meant to serve and protect us encounter the public with panic and fear. While I am not ignoring the fact that the job of a police officer is one where danger is always imminent and making a decision is hard to make in the heat of the moment, the truth is that too many officers enter high-pressure situations severely underprepared. In speaking with the previously mentioned deputies, he relayed to me that at most, he and his colleagues receive 3-hour training sessions once or twice a year. The reason being that a small department like Jackson County doesn't have enough money to hold numerous sessions, with one 3-hour session costing the department around $2,500 for 10 to 12 officers. Which begs the question, where are the rest of the funds in the department's budget going? There needs to be a thorough review of police budgets and a reallocation of funds where possible within departments to ensure that officers are more prepared when they are confronted with a split-second decision that can have deadly consequences. Furthermore, de-escalation needs to become the first option used in as many applicable situations as possible. As a result, there is a need for social workers to be on the scene. This does not mean that social workers should be the only people present. They are equipped to handle every situation. They are not equipped to handle every situation, and neither are officers. Therefore, the solution is neither only police officers or solely rely on social workers, but rather through the cooperation of officers and social workers can the puzzle of police reform be solved. Finally, we as members of a democratic society must not forget our responsibility, not only to vote, but to also cast an informed vote. When you go to the polls, be sure you have educated yourself on who you're voting for and what their history is. Remember that our duty as citizens is also to hold elected officials accountable for what they do in the office we place them in. As Congressman John Lewis once wrote, democracy is not a state, it's an act, and each generation must do its part. We must continue to set aside our differences and collaborate to create a better society. Regardless of race, background, age, or nationality, we must not grow weary in calling for action, but instead continue our intolerance of justice, of injustice. We the people have the power to create change, and we shall overcome.
All right.
Thank you, Mr. Caleb Bonzi. Let's give him another round of applause. But I know that's right. I just want to remind you all that these are high school students. That's all I have to say. Caleb Bonzi. All right, and our next speaker is now a graduate from Carbondale Community High School, Miss Naomi Love. Let's give her a warm round of applause as she comes before us. Miss Naomi Love.
Hi everyone, my name is Naomi and I'm a recent graduate, as Matt said. Today I really wanted to take the time to reflect on my own high school career and how I view CCHS as a school. Real quick, as you can tell, I am biracial, so a lot of the spaces I were in, I didn't really reflect all sides of me, you know, as most biracial kids understand, but I tended to gravitate towards white spaces, and I regret that greatly because I think I could have had a more fulfilled high school experience and I would have embraced all sides of me. But CCHS taught me a lot about my values and how easily my values can bend and how easily my morals can bend under the pressure of white spaces. So to all my young BIPOC individuals, we do not need a white man's praise to be great, okay? Don't put all of the value of your life. Yeah, you can clap. It's important, especially young black women. We think the only way we can be successful is under the gaze of a white man, and that is not true. And I spent my entire career at CCHS trying to impress a white man that was never really going to be impressed with me. So I really urge you, impress yourself and then go out and impress others. This is something my father really instilled at me at a young age, you know, finding a seat at the table. Through high school, I realized that I may not be that person. I may not be able to sacrifice my morals and my beliefs, and that's okay. Some people can do that, and more power to them, but if you do find a seat at the table, please bring a sledgehammer and destroy the table, because a table can only fit so many people. A table only has so many room for so many chairs. So if you're not able to find one, make one yourself. That's something I wish I would have done. And I wasn't really able to because CCHS is not the great school everybody thinks it is. We promote diversity, but in reality, it is socially segregated to the point where I only had one other black student in my honors history class, my honors English class. You go into any honors or AP class at CCHS and tell me it's not racist. Not once did I sit in a classroom with another black student in an advanced course, and that is on CCHS. It's not on the students. I think CCHS needs to take time to really evaluate their curriculum and change it so everybody feels included. Black liberation will not come at the hands of a white man, as I said earlier. So we need to stop trying to include everybody in a movement they don't want to be included in. Too much of the time we go out of our ways to try to change someone's opinion, and we don't value the people we already have in a movement. White people, stop centering yourself in a movement not made for you. Be an ally. Also, don't go reach out to all your black friends to get all the information because we have Google. Exactly, yeah. Too much have I been asked by white people, what should I do? There's Google for a reason. It's hard and it's stressful and it's not our job. It's not our job. It's not our job. And the real way to be an ally is not to call yourself an ally, but to dedicate your time, your money, and your ears, not always your voice. We need to stop speaking over black people. I, as a biracial woman, have spoken over black women, and it's disgusting, and it's something I had to unlearn, and that's okay. It's okay to make mistakes, and it's okay to not be perfect. Over quarantine, I was really able to evaluate how I, as a biracial woman, contribute to colorism against black women just by existing. And let me tell you, having that reflection and being able to say I'm not perfect was liberating. And now I like to think of myself as a better ally to black women. And I strongly urge all of you after this, go home and think of all the ways that you contribute to an oppressive society, because we all do. Even if you are the most perfect person in the world, you are still actively living in a racist society. And only by then we can start to solve the bigger problems, because it is all at an individual level. I thank all of you for coming out here, because I went to the Breonna Taylor one and not as many people, so I'm thankful more people came out, but keep coming out, especially to youth. We are the change that we want to see in the world, and I'm so proud to be a part of this generation, because honestly, guys, you are the greatest, and I genuinely think we're going to make change, whether it's through politics or just staying informed. So thank you so much for listening, and keep marching. Thank you.
Naomi Love, everyone. Naomi Love. Let's give her another warm round of applause. These were our 3 high school student representatives. They did a phenomenal job, didn't they?
Yes, they did.
Oh, yes, they did. They did that. Look, I was inspired. Hey, Rumi, how you doing? All right. Is Miss Sherry Hamilton here? I don't think that I saw her, but I know she has something to say. Would any of our So Ill Unity Coalition members have anything on their heart to say? They said everything you were going to. Okay, now I want to open this up to the public. First, I want to thank all the community service organizations that are here. I see some lovely federated ladies from the NACWC. Let's give them a round of applause for showing up. All right, would anyone from your organization like to say something as a representation? All right, this is Miss Asia Easter that is coming before Esther. I'm so sorry. Asia Esther, let me get it right. Coming before us today. Let's give her a round of applause.
Hi, like you said, I'm sorry my voice is kind of shaky right now, but like you said, my name is Asia Esther. I am the president of NACWC. For those who don't know, it's the National Association of Colored Women's Club, founded in 1896, 125 years ago. And just like we are doing today, they did before. For women, for black women, for children, for everybody. And I love coming out and seeing this. We appreciate this. We will always be here. We will always be within this community. And we love y'all. We love all of y'all. That's all I gotta say.
Miss Asia Esther, let's give her another round of applause. Thank you so much. So we had high school students. We have our Salukis here. Make some noise if you're a Saluki. All right. So we're good to see our Saluki alumni that is here today. Now I would like to open this up to the public. If anyone has anything on their hearts that they want to say, that they want to sing, that they want to give in poetry, if anyone feels so moved, now is the time to come before us today.
Right here, brother.
Carbondale Women's Center. Oh, as organizations, yes. I will at the end. I'm sorry.
Matthew,
But yes,
you have one
sir,
right
come
here.
on up. We have a first representative. Let's give him a round of applause.
First, I want to thank Matthew Williams. I met him a couple of days ago when they had the thing for the Breonna Taylor movement. And he told me right off, he knew who I was when I told him because something happened to one of my children's in this town. But first, I want to say my name is Raymond Ivy. And I just want to thank all of y'all and tell all of y'all, y'all awesome. Don't let nobody else say, y'all, to me, y'all made history. I grew up in Chicago, Illinois. I was born 1958. I'm history, got dust on me. But I've been living in Charleston, Missouri, like it's about an hour and 10 minutes away from here for about 25 years. And I've been an activist doing what y'all doing now, but I've been standing alone, standing up against racism, you know what I mean? Standing up against even some blacks that didn't want to stand up for what y'all standing up for. And y'all, let me tell y'all something, y'all put Charleston to shame. I wish I had all of y'all. But I want to tell y'all, it's a sad story. My son, his name was Brian, B-R-Y-A-N, middle name Lamar, L-A-M-A-R, last name Johns, J-O-H-N-S. He was living here in Carbondale. He was homeless off and on. He had got out of prison. But some people feel when you've been to prison, you're nobody. Some people think when you've been on drugs, you're nobody. But I'm going to tell you something. My son was somebody. He was 34 years old. And on March the 19th, some of y'all might have not even heard about it. Some of y'all have. He heard it because I have a YouTube channel. And I put it on my YouTube and my Facebook. And that's how thousands of people in Carbondale, y'all showed me much more love than Charleston, Missouri have. But I put it on my YouTube, which is Raymond, R-A-Y-M-O-N-D, Ivy, I-V-Y. My Facebook page is Raymond Ivy. But let me tell you, on March the 24th or 23rd, I had got some news that my son had hung himself. Now, I worked on the ambulance before now, and I'm not a doctor, but I'm sure, I don't know if we have any doctors out here, but I know everybody out here have common sense. They at 400 Oakland Street in those apartment buildings that's on the corner of Oakland and Sycamore Street. On the Sycamore Street in the 400 block, all of that is the same building. A female, I came down, I did my own investigation. She found my son 2 T-shirts on her landing on the 3rd floor. It's 5 apartments on each side. 2 on the third floor, 2 on the 2nd, and 1 in the basement. She found his 2 T-shirts there. I might get a little sensitive, y'all, but I'm human. They found his body hung in the hallway on the 3rd floor on the Oakland side. Me and my 2 daughters, all 3 of my daughters is biracial. My oldest one is Puerto Rican and Indian, and my 2 youngest, my 15 and 16-year-olds, they are Puerto Rican and Dominican. My son is black and his mother's black. But they found him hung on the landing. Now tell me this here with a size 32 belt. I know we got graduates just graduated, and then you have the belt, a 32 belt, you measure it out, is 42 inches. I did the whole thing when you see it on my YouTube. You take 42 inches, I took that same belt, put it around my neck, the same type of belt, put it around my neck, tight as I could. And when you put it on my neck tight as it could, he big as my son, me and my son was about the same size. You're taking off 16 inches. You take off 16 from 42, what you leave? 26 inches. But then if he hung himself, you have to be able to use some more of that belt, right, to tie it. I give the people that claim he committed suicide at first until they see my YouTube video. Now it's a death investigation. How could you become from suicide, no doubt a contradiction, into a death investigation, a big thing. But you take 10 more inches off, you're going to leave about 14 or 16 inches left. But let me tell you this here. Tell me how, about this much, tell me how can you hang yourself with money balled up in your hand? Anybody know about rigor mortis? Once, if a person is dead down here and their hand is closed, guess what? It's gonna be closed. But if you unhung yourself, the first thing gonna do what? You're gonna drop down like that. Anything in your hand gonna drop down. But they claim he hung himself. I went on the scene, I reenacted it. That's what I do. What y'all doing now, I do it for other people. Now I'm doing it for my son because I contact the Southern newspaper in March 2 or 3 times. No response. I contact the Southern again, April, 3 or 4 times. They gave me 2 reporters, Marilyn Hastings and Isaac something. You see what I'm saying? No response. Talked to some lady named Laura that answers the phone. She gave me the news, I think it's news at the Southern. You see what I'm saying? .com, whatever it is. Ain't nobody respond yet. But let me show you this here. Now, the coroner, I thought he was a coroner, but I found out I do my own research. My research is RRR, Raymond Research and Recovery. I came down here and did my own research. The guy that said he was a coroner, he was not even a doctor, he was a deputy coroner. You see what I'm saying? And the commanding lieutenant, they seen my son's mother breaking down. And let me tell you what they told her. Raymond's name ain't on his birth certificate. Won't you do the talking? Told her that's behind my back. You do the talking, and we got a funeral home that can cremate him where you don't have to take this cop. She told him, talk to his daddy. Now this deputy coroner and this commanding lieutenant, I put him to shame on my YouTube. I ain't heard nothing else from him now. You see what I'm saying? Now the Illinois State Police got some of it, but I want y'all to help me to get the Illinois State Police to get every shed of my son's clothes out of the Carbondale Police Department and send it to the Illinois. I can't afford to pay the Illinois State, but they should be able to do it. If you don't have the right sources, how's you gonna squab just a buckle and send a squab instead of taking the whole belt? Somebody killed my son and took him to that building. If you go around that building, there's no cameras and they locked. But see, show you how God worked. When me and my daughters and grandkids, I went and got my grandchildren. They smart like y'all. Some of them high school, some of them college. We went to both of them buildings, and God had, y'all know what a ram in the bush is? A ram in the bush is when you don't have nothing else, God gonna make life for you. The Indians that stay on the 2nd floor of the building that my son got killed in, they college students, they let me in their house from the back, took me and showed me where they found my son, about 140 something. Now, I know y'all got some math genius, and I need y'all to listen to this here. When you die and you take the temperature, whatever the temperature is at that particular time, you can find out the cause of, what time that they died by taking 1.5 off of each hour. His temperature, they said, y'all hear me? They said was 76. I ain't got none of the stuff. So y'all be thinking about 76, and he died they found him at 140 something. I'm gonna cut it short because but I needed to get this here out. The only people that know besides y'all and the people that been watching my YouTube, ain't nobody else showing the care. You know why I think it is? Because he was a black man, he had a drug problem, but that still make him human. He been to the penitentiary and they thought he didn't know nobody. How would you say suicide either by drugs in the system or suicide by mental illness, but now all of a sudden it's a crime investigation. I mean a murder a murder investigation. You see, I need y'all to help me get some answers in this town. It's one person that claimed to be his friend, and I'm gonna tell you this here and I'm gonna end it. Sometimes people be in your circle helping you look for the murderer, and guess what? The murderer be right in your midst. And I believe one of them is the one that contacted me because I found out something about him, saying him and my son is friends. I don't even see him out here. I ain't seen him out here since I've been out here, But it's something about some people on drugs and not on drugs told me something about this guy, and he ain't no community activist. I love y'all. Thank you, man.
Thank you so much, Mr. Raymond. I know that was a lot of passion. I know you felt that, and we are so sorry for your son. But we, as the Carbondale community, will do what we have to do to make sure that we find the answers that you need as we heal together. Because we need love and unity to help heal our community. Coming before us today, thank you. Coming before us today, we are going to have Miss AJ give us her